Hello and welcome to another fun and exciting point of sale related video. This one is going to go very fast. Very time-like topic, staffing shortages, and this is going to contain multiple tips, ideas, and suggestions for beer, wine, and liquor retailers experiencing staffing shortages. So this is based on site visits with over 360 beer, wine, and liquor retailers across 9 states. Yes, that's on site in the store. Also based on multiple years of experience in retail management. So the idea here is we're going to throw up a list of suggestions that are kind of broken down by different sections. Give you some ideas. Hopefully you can find 1, 2, 3, or 4 to pick out and try. I think the only jargon I throw out there is I tend to use FTE a lot. That means full-time equivalent. So basically one-time employee is equal to 1 FTE. And there's a good error. So 2 half-time employees would be 1 FTE. All right, let's dive in. So looking at the compensation side of things, here's some ideas. Bonus to employees for being on time and showing up for all shifts. Paying a competitive wage. Yes, that does vary by market. I think the only exception I saw where things were not tight was in the Oklahoma City area, where they didn't really have much of a labor shortage. But everywhere else, I am going to guess that you're going to need to have at least $15 an hour. Predominantly, that's the number I saw. I saw as high as $23 an hour in some of the larger markets. That's just, it's the reality, folks. It's the reality, and that's what the liquor stores are paying for a cashier, a trainee cashier. Other ideas and suggestions: benefits for part-time and full-time employees. Most folks offer them for full-time, but maybe you could do some sort of a prorated amount for part-time employees. Have a growth plan with incentives for completion of growth plan steps. So basically they start as a trainee cashier, they complete the training course to be a cashier, and they get a $50 bonus. Then they go on to, you know how you set up the different positions in your store and the career paths, but whether the next step is a supervisor, assistant manager, etc., have a growth plan and have incentives for completing that growth plan. But some debate, is it better to have a couple of full-time employees or predominantly part-time employees? And you're just going to have to think through that. Your FTE count is going to be the same in the end, but you're going to have some differences in the overall cost depending on what you do for benefits. But the flip side of that is if you're primarily full-time employees and one of them quits or is on extended leave for an illness, it has a major effect versus a part-time employee that maybe only affects a shorter shift or fewer days of the week. Throw out some random incentives for meeting team goals: outstanding work, positive customer reviews, gift cards, pizza lunches, cash. Have product, well, probably not. Well, that's up to you if you want to do product or not. Obviously, if they're underage, you're not going to do that. All right, and I say that because there are still quite a few states where you can be 19 or 20 and work in a liquor store. All right, offer higher pay rates for employees who don't need benefits. Please check with whoever does your health insurance and things like that to make sure that's acceptable in your locale. But, maybe if they don't need benefits because their spouse or significant other receives benefits, and maybe pay them a couple bucks more an hour. Yeah, again, these are just ideas. You don't have to use them, but they came from spending time in liquor stores. All right, now we're moving on to our smart thinking ideas, tips, and suggestions. Use a staffing service to pre-qualify applicants. Check with local schools for internship programs. That was a great one for me. Most colleges and universities, trade schools, have some sort of need for the student to pick up so many credits in an internship. Doesn't it could turn into a long-term employee as well. You never know. All right, does your job posting include unique positive reasons to work at your store? What do you offer that XYZ beer, wine, or liquor down the street doesn't offer to the staff? Are you empowering the employees? This actually is something I also did. I offloaded administrative tasks like employee scheduling. It does two things. One, it freed up some of my time, and it empowered that team member to have kind of accountability and some leadership within one specific area. Another good one, use a third-party bookkeeping service. Frees up some time, and if you're using the correct technology, you can automatically send them all the information that they need or give them remote access to the system. And that ties right into using point of sale technology at its fullest to free up managers' time. I'm going to link a video in the description, but basically, if you're using your point of sale system correctly, that is the equivalent of about a 3/4 time employee. About 30 hours a week is what can be saved by correctly using a point of sale system. Look at your processes to increase efficiency. How you do your purchasing, receiving, even, shelf tags, opening and closing procedures. And not just the point of sale system, but, your alarm system and maintenance, light bulbs, coolers, maintenance, rotating stock. How do you do that? And is there a quicker or more efficient way to do that? Another one that I found super, super beneficial was using a job coaching service to add staff who have disabilities. They can do a large variety of tasks, from stocking shelf tags, opening mail, cashiering, answering the phones. And what you end up is you get a wage credit, plus that person comes with a job coach. Now, it doesn't mean the job coach is going to be another employee, but you can offload the training and mentorship and management of that person using that job coach. And I gotta say, these have been some of the most loyal, some of the most fun employees I have ever worked with or hired. All right, some more smart thinking. Are you hanging on to bad employees or just hiring warm bodies? Don't. It doesn't help in the end. You spend more time dealing with issues than any amount of work they actually complete. Are you being smart? Are you cross-training your employees so you not run into a situation where only one employee knows how to print shelf tags, receive inventory, operate the alarm system, things like that. Make sure people are cross-trained, so if you lose one employee, you're not losing a key employee. And yes, that does happen when you get calls and the key employee quit. Now no one even knows the password to get into the point of sale system or the alarm codes or any of that stuff. So cross-train, cross-train, cross-train. And our final one here, create a safe working environment with a zero tolerance policy against internal theft, and prosecute external theft. I just actually had that conversation with a couple of stores because word was out on the street that they are lax on letting employees steal. And then another chain of stores does not prosecute shoplifters. Word gets out on the street. And plus, how safe of an employee are you if you're working, how do you feel as an employee if you're working in one of those stores? I wouldn't. You've lost prevention for a reason. And then just some common sense things for keeping employees safe. Not letting people hang out in the parking lot, panhandle by the front door, always having two people opening and closing, just common sense stuff like that. If employees don't feel safe, they're probably not going to hang around too long. Second pair of eyes ideas. This kind of tags into what I just talked about. Is the store an inviting place to shop? If not, it's probably not an inviting place to work. And inviting means even some simple things like there's no broken out light bulbs, stock is easy to find, there isn't stocks blocking the aisles. That's a pet peeve of mine. Run into so many stores where they've got freight that's been received but it's just sitting in boxes blocking the aisles. How easy is that for the customer? And how friendly is that for the employee who then has to hear from the customer why they can't find their bottle of vodka or bourbon or any of that. I think that, that second pair of eyes is actually a pretty good idea. I know just from my experience, just spending a few hours in a liquor store, pretty easy to spot things as I'm shadowing and make some easy suggestions. And this is going to get kind of personal here, these last couple ones here, but I've seen it, and it has to be said, how much of the staffing issues comes back to the store's leadership. In some cases, the work environment is why you can't retain staff, while the liquor store down the street has no issue with staffing. I have seen and actually had to have the police escort bad managers out of the store because of their attitude, how they treated people. It's a reflection on your business. You may not see it depending on your level of time spent in the store, but don't let that happen. Don't let a bad owner or a bad manager cause staffing issues. Part ways with them. And if you're an owner, I guess you have to do some soul searching. If retail's not for you, maybe just strictly being an offsite owner or investor is the best option. Don't spend time in the store if retail ain't your thing. And also, something that you might need some outside help on is the store's leadership so fixated on the staffing issues that other important tasks are being delayed. There are things that happen, but we are multitaskers when it comes to retail. We can't let one thing cascade into delaying other issues. So, and this is where, if you're not a good soul searcher, then it's time to have that second pair of eyes spend some time in your store. Call somebody in who knows retail, who knows beer, wine, liquor operations. And it doesn't take long. Usually when I'm in a store, it's been as low as 15 minutes. I've got stuff, whereas some of the owners that I know a little bit better will spend a couple hours. So, okay. Promise to make this quick. I have to put this in the video description so you can click on it, but this shows again how a point of sale system used correctly generates a good ROI, or the equivalent of a 3/4 time full-time equivalent. And then there's our contact information. And sorry, this one a little longer than I'd hoped, but I wanted to get all this out, and hopefully you'll find at least a few things in here helpful to try. Please let us know if it works. If you have other suggestions, please, please, please comment in the video description or contact us directly. Would love to update so we can all collaborate as we work through this this yet another challenge in the world of beer, wine, and liquor retailing. Thanks for watching.